Bloodborne, The Healing Thirst. This is from Titan Comics. So unlike my other reviews, I'm not going to be reviewing a single issue. Instead, I'm going to be reviewing a whole arc. This is a 4-issue arc, the Healing Thirst arc. Anyone who's not reading the comics, Bloodborne is basically, it's an ongoing series, but it's an ongoing series with 4-issue arcs, and each arc kind of tells its own story with its own characters. But it's all in this same universe, the same village, the city, I should say, city of Yarnum. And basically, we get to just see different characters, their different takes on the city, how the city becomes the way it is in the game. For anyone who doesn't know, Bloodborne is PS4, PS4 game. So yeah, we're gonna get right into this. The reason I decided to do a review on the arc is because the Bloodborne comics in general are very hit or miss. Mostly on the miss side for me, especially the current arc. I mean, the current arc is the only arc that actually follows a character from the game, Aileen the Crow. But I don't care for the pacing of the story in that arc, because basically we're following a character who is slowly descending into madness. So it's just a lot of rambling and poetic writings, which kind of come across as pretentious. It's just, to me, it's not all that great. But the Healing Thirst actually told a story that like hit me pretty well. Like I was like, oh wow, this is actually pretty damn good. So I want to kind of put a spotlight on this arc. So I believe what issue did this start with? I think it was issue 6. No. I think it was 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think that's how it went, because the first 4 was one arc, and then issue 5 to 8 is the Healing Thirst, and then 9 to currently it's at 11, but I'm assuming 9 to 12 is going to be the Eileen arc. So yeah, issues 5 to 8 is the Healing Thirst. So let's get into it. So basically, we for this one we have 2 main characters. We have a doctor, Alfredius, and then we have a priest Clement, and basically they're trying to uncover this outbreak called of like ashen blood that's kind of terrorizing the citizens of Yarnum. Kind of making them become what you see here, almost like kind of like zombified. So this is Dr. Alfredius. And here we have Clement. He's a member of the Healing Church. And basically they're doing this weird blood ritual where Clement gets blood splashed on his face. And then he basically has like visions, or he basically he sees something. And like the father kind of like Father Galahad kind of asks to see what the hell's going on. And the blood comes from a sacrifice, and this is right here, this is like foreshadowing. I'm not gonna say for what. So basically for this review I'm gonna kind of discuss a bit of the arc, but for anyone who basically starts getting interested while watching this video and like, you know what, I want to read that for myself, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Clement has a vision from the blood splattered on his face, and basically he kind of recites a prayer, and it's our thirst for blood satiates us, soothes our fears, seek the old blood, but beware the frailty of man. And as that's happening, Brother Galahad and other members of the church start thinking that maybe Clement is starting to become a heretic, that maybe he's starting to become disillusioned, or he's not. So basically, Clement is starting to become a bit disillusioned with the church. He's starting to think that maybe the church is responsible for the plagues going on. Basically, what's been happening is the church has been distributing old blood to the citizens to cure them of sickness and disease and stuff like that. And Clement actually believes that this old blood is actually the reason for this outbreak. Anyone who's unfamiliar with the old blood, it's from the game. It's basically blood from the Great Ones. Basically, they're like gods. There's like a huge like Lovecraftian thing. It's I'm not gonna explain it all because it's very very it would take forever. It's really complicated. But yeah, basically there's these otherworldly beings. They kind of worship them as gods. The city of Yarnum the church has gotten their hands on this blood, the blood of these beings, and they're distributing them to the citizens, and it's kind of turning them into monsters. Is I guess the most basic way I can kind of phrase that. And the priest Clement believes that this blood is the cause for the outbreak. So he decides to basically go check out in the sewers to see if there's anything he can uncover. And while there, he meets the doctor. But yeah, basically these two kind of develop this alliance, I guess I would say, as they discuss that both of them believe that this blood is the cause of this outbreak. So the doctor kind of takes the priest back to his workshop, and they kind of discuss their philosophy, their ideas on this matter. We kind of cut to a flashback where we see the doctor hanging out in front of his house, talking with his neighbor, and this is Mathalid. I can't pronounce names for the life of me. Mathalid. I'm just gonna call her Math. It's easier for me. But yeah, she's kind of taking care of her roses and kind of discussing about how her husband passed away and stuff like that. And basically, I'm kind of just bringing this up because she's going to play a very important part in this arc. So Prince Clement arrives at Alfredius's workshop, and he brings samples. Basically, contact with a mutilated hunter, and he stole the hunter's handkerchief, which has some of the blood on it, and that's the sample, and he gives it to Alfredius to basically kind of run tests on it. And Alfredius, basically, he needs a live specimen to test his blood on, so he decides to use it on himself. Very smart idea, I guess. So we cut to the church where the father and one of the other members are kind of discussing what's going on with the hunters and how they're starting to suffer from the disease. And he's kind of asking maybe, the old blood is the cause, but the father immediately kind of announces that. It's like, no, the old blood is like the cure. Yeah, he sees the old blood and these gods as the key to their salvation, rather than the cause of all this destruction that's going on around them. He also decides to basically triple the rations of the blood ministrations. Basically, they've been pumping their hunters with this old blood, as you guys can kind of figure out, since the blood is the cause of this issue, and now the soldiers and hunters and stuff like that are going to be having more of it pumped into them. You can kind of see where this is going. So yeah, we get more of just kind of discussion with Clement and Alfredius. There's some kind of substance. We're not sure what it is because the comic never brings it up. People just refer to it as it. And the substance is coming from the sewers. Clement actually goes down in there and he gets a sample of this and he gives it to the doctor. But right before the doctor can actually test it, Math arrives. She is basically ill. So the doctor decides to use the old blood to try to cure her. And you may be thinking, why is he using the old blood when he knows that the blood is the cause of this plague? There's like a very good line in here. I'm going to screw it up because I don't remember it verbatim. But basically he's kind of saying how the difference between poison and remedy is the dosage. But yeah, basically he thinks that if he can administer the old blood, but in very small dosage, he'll be able to cure his neighbor. This moment right here is where things kind of start snowballing for the worse. I mean, if it wasn't bad enough, it starts getting a lot worse here. So we have Clement he's seeing firsthand all the horrific stuff that's going on because of the church. So he's starting to become really disillusioned with the church. Meanwhile, the doctor is starting to run low on old blood samples. So he's actually stopped taking samples for himself and using the samples that he was using on himself on his neighbor. And I don't know if he's going through withdrawals or whatever, but basically he's starting to lose faith in Clement, and he believes that Clement is not going to be able to get him more samples. He's wrong about that, though. Clement does. Clement basically sneaks into the church, steals a handful of samples, and rushes to try to get them to Alfredius so Alfredius can save his neighbor. And then, like I said before, Alfredius, in the meantime, believes that Clement, because it's been a while since Clement has arrived with new samples. So Alfredius decides to take matters into his own hands and comes up with his own way of getting his hands on some samples. I'm not going to spoil how he does that, but that's where we're going to end it here. Because again, I don't want to spoil the rest of the arc. I should say it gets really, really good. Yeah, I really like this arc. Can't say, the same for other issues in this series. Like I said, it's very hit or miss, and the current arc is very miss in my opinion. But this one actually, it really stood out to me, and I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend trying to track this down. Like I said, I believe it's basically issues 5, 6, 7, and 8. 4-issue arc. I basically went over the first 3, but I highly recommend picking it up. But yeah, that's Bloodborne, Healing Thirst. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I kind of did a somewhat decent job explaining this arc. Bloodborne is very hard to explain because there's a lot to unravel in Bloodborne. Bloodborne, unlike most other games out there, doesn't have a linear narrative. In fact, a lot of the narrative is actually hidden within the world. Like basically, you uncover the narrative by talking to NPCs, by piecing together stuff that you see yourself, like visually, by items that you pick up and reading item descriptions. It's very abstract, and you got to kind of piece it together. And a lot of times also, what some people believe the story is about might actually be different. I've seen a lot of debates going on in the Bloodborne community about what exactly is the lore, what's correct, what's not correct, what's theory, what's canon or factual. Yeah, trying to explain a bit about this is interesting. I guess the best way I can just too long didn't read bottom line this arc is basically about a doctor and a priest, both of whom become disillusioned, and a city going to hell, and the two of them trying to figure out the cause and maybe hopefully find a cure. So it was a nice arc. I really actually enjoyed this. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please subscribe if you guys haven't already. Hit the bell for notification. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Feel free to comment down below. Comment about whatever you want. Tell me what you think of this video. Did this video make you want to pick up this series? If you guys are reading the series already, what do you think of it? But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.